You want to know how I know 2015 is going to be awesome? Because we have a new Avengers movie coming out, so let us commence hype via build-up. Iron Man 3. So Iron Man 3 is the 7th movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the first movie in its Phase 2 after the first Avengers. So following the huge climactic heroic thing that Tony Stark did at the end of the Avengers, he's having a hard time getting some sleep at night. He's going through post-traumatic stress disorder and whatnot. He has anxiety attacks whenever someone even mentions the Avengers, and I love seeing that actually. It adds dimensions to the character, makes him seem more like a real person, you know? And now there's a new villain in the world out there and he's calling himself the Mandarin. And he's causing havoc by blowing up stuff. Basically, he's a terrorist. Plus, there's a new evil corporation out there called AIM, run by Aldrich Killian, who's played by Guy Pearce, who's really good in this movie. The acting in this movie is really great. I mean, I don't have to tell you how good Robert Downey Jr. is as Tony Stark. Everybody loves Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark because he is Tony Stark. I also like Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts, but the thing about her is that she seemed kinda useless to me, at least in the first two films. Like, she never really contributes anything to the plot line, particularly in the second one. But in this one, she has a little bit more to do, so it's not like she's just a motivation for Tony Stark. I like seeing the Iron Patriot armor in this movie a lot. It's really cool looking, even though it didn't fire a single bullet. Seriously, watch this movie. He doesn't fire a single bullet in this movie. But I really loved Guy Pearce in this movie. I dug his performance. His motivation for what his character does is pretty weak, but I mean, just his acting. I liked it a lot. He's a good actor. As for Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin, when the trailers were coming out for this movie, I couldn't wait to see Iron Man versus the Mandarin, because I heard the Mandarin was like Iron Man's arch nemesis in the comics. I saw the 10 ring stuff from the first Iron Man movie in the trailers, and I knew that the Mandarin had some like magic rings or whatever, so I knew that this was gonna be pretty damn cool to see. Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin is amazing in this movie. I can't say he delivers the best performance because RDJ. All I'm gonna say here is that Ben Kingsley's acting is just awesome. Another element that I really like in this movie is the extremis factor. Aldrich Killian's company AIM has invented this thing called extremis, which is a next step in human evolution type thing. You know those things never go right in movies like this. But I did love seeing it in this movie because visually it was awesome. Iron Man 3 has some great visual effects, especially at the end. The end of this movie is straight up freaking awesome. You remember seeing in the trailer all those Iron Man suits, the Iron Legion coming into battle? That scene is one of the coolest Iron Man action scenes I have seen yet. There is one thing story-wise in this movie that I'm pretty sure disappointed everyone. It disappointed me, that's for sure. But if you think about it and think about how it works in the movie, it makes sense to me. I know people who hate this movie because of this thing, and I can't really say that I blame them. That being said, I'm fine with it because it works for me. I'm not alone out there. This movie got generally positive reviews. One thing that does bug me about this movie though is that it doesn't really push the Marvel Cinematic Universe forward. It doesn't even touch on S.H.I.E.L.D. any more than one mere mention. You know, it doesn't really do anything for this world other than one big decision that Tony Stark makes at the end of this movie. But even that, looking at the long run, still doesn't matter too much, especially if it's feeding into Avengers Age of Ultron. And actually, looking at the premise of Age of Ultron, it looks like it's gonna do just that. So we'll see. For now though, I can't really see this movie as a landmark in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The score in this movie was just okay, it wasn't anything special. But that's really the case for most Marvel movies. Some Marvel movies have awesome scores, but most of them aren't too memorable. But Iron Man 3 is still a fun movie to watch. I love watching Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. I love watching Iron Man do his thing. It's a great time, but it is my least favorite of the Phase 2 movies so far. So Iron Man 3, have you seen it and what did you think about it? And if you have seen it, then how do you think it's gonna tie in with Avengers Age of Ultron? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.